everybody? Welcome back once again to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you as always from the Retro Wrestling Archive in Gadsden, Alabama, along with producer Smokey doing his thing behind the scenes. And speaking of producer Smokey, he has got a brand new t-shirt up over at the store that he is selling. He's trying to raise money for treats and wants me to show it to you right now. It's a parody of the old Toonces the Driving Cat from Saturday Night Live. And every bit of money that comes for that shirt is going to go towards buying producer Smokey some treats. So I know people were sending me messages a couple weeks ago going, hey, y'all aren't giving producer Smokey credit. He does a lot of work. Well, you're right. So we're trying to help him out. So he's got him a t-shirt up now. So support producer Smokey with his new t-shirt. Now, join me in welcoming my co-host. First of all, you know him. You love him. It's Josh Briley from P3 Radio. What's up, Josh?
The love part's debatable, Gene, man, but I'll roll with it, dude. I'll take it. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing really good. Last week was a good week for a change. First one I've had since October. Well, let's be honest. Even before then, I hadn't had a good week in a while. So, yeah, man, I'm doing great. Better than I could have expected this time last week. I could have never have predicted how things would have turned out. So that's awesome. Did you have a good weekend, man?
Yeah, didn't get to kind of do what I wanted to do. I had some projects lined up, and I got drafted into service by the wife. But you know how that shit is. But hey, I'll get it done.
Good weekend.
I'll put it on the list of shit to do next week. Yeah.
There you go. Next weekend, top of the list, big. Have a good weekend. And the wife's like, no, you better put that off to next weekend. We got some shit to do. So, well, better luck next time, man. But we'll see if another person had a good weekend. He's our other co-host. He's the owner, founder, and president of STSPod.club. I feel like I need to start, enunciating and stressing. Richard's intro of you on P3 Radio, so I got to start adding a little bit of spice to it like that. So we're going to say he's the owner, founder, and president of STSPod.club. And he's currently the Jonesboro, Arkansas's favorite resident. Spoiler alert. It's Brian Tramel. Brian, I'm sorry to do my piss poor impression because Josh does it so much better.
Oh, it's okay, man. We had too bad we didn't have that microphone going before the mics instead of. Oh man, that was some good conversation. By the way, it's my best friend Gene and my favorite host of P3 Radio, Josh. Hey guys, I'm over here walking in Jonesboro. Did I do okay with that? Walking in Jonesboro. I'm getting buck. I'm brought to you by Jolly Royal Furniture there in Memphis, Tennessee. Rob's going to be here this week. We're headed to Jolly Royal after lunch and reopen his old account. And we're going to Spaghetti Warehouse there in Memphis around 12:30 Central Time. If y'all want to meet us over there, I want to get a lasagna. Speaking of Rob, I just want to show y'all something. This is not completely done because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. My wife has been out of town, so she's going to help me when she gets here. But there's the studio, kind of.
There it is.
We're going to have somebody.
STSPod.club studio.
Sitting over there. Somehow, it may not even look like this by the time Rob gets here tomorrow. But it has been a difficult process because I am not the guy that's ever did anything with cameras or anything like that. What you see there is not what you see here. It's weird. It's really weird. Real big shout out quick for Gene. There was two. Now there's only one. I'm the only one that's unemployed now. Congratulations, Gene. I know it was a lot of worry, and I thought about you a lot about that. So we had some personal conversations about it, and I'm so excited you got a job. I've got a couple of bites this week, so I'm excited. Also, the Rip Rogers interview you did is so entertaining, especially if you're a young guy, you want to listen. He's not one of those guys that tells you all the young guys are doing horrible things. He just has some really good tips. And I got a question for you about this. So y'all, I could have looked this up on Google, but maybe you can entertain people here too. What was the Blue Laws? Y'all were talking about the Blue Laws and they couldn't wrestle on Sunday. What was that?
Yeah, basically, due to religious beliefs, they didn't allow you to have businesses open on Sunday, have sporting events
I
due
did
to
not
that
know
being the
that.
Sabbath. Yeah. Yeah, that was actually laws back then, believe it or not.
That is crazy. I figured that was what it was. I didn't look it up. I was like, he just mentioned it, and you did too. And I was like, that is crazy. Also, shout out to Steve Crawford, ICW
Yes.
podcast on the network. There's something that he said that I wanted to say for us. You know, we had Pez Watley earlier this year on here. I forgot that Pez in ICW was King Pez at one time.
He was.
I
He
wonder
certainly
how
was.
that felt when he walked backstage and Jerry was back there. Like, wasn't you the one that was King Pez there for a while? So yeah, I forgot all about that, about him actually being the king. Because they ICW give Memphis wrestling hell all the time. So
Oh yeah, they were a thorn in their side. Speaking of Steve Crawford and Ray Russell for that episode of Regional Wrestling about ICW, one of the funnest things that come out of that, and this was just a slip of the tongue from Steve, but picturing it driving home last night from Mississippi, when he messed up and said Thunderfoot Patterson, I was like, I would pay to see Thunderfoot Patterson, big black dude in a mask talking about equal rights and shit.
I thought it was funny that they could never get Thunderbolt to actually promote the matches. He wanted to always promote civil rights and everything. If he wrestled in the main event, he never put over his opponent. No one even knew what the hell was going on. So,
yeah, he was just burying other promotions. At least this promotion will book me. Nobody else will book me because they're racist. Like every promo, apparently. So, anyway, let's get this show going here. We are heading back to August the 3rd, 1991. Earlier in the week, I had to do a little investigating here because I started watching the show that was labeled August the 3rd, and they were talking about, well, our return to the Coliseum and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a minute. As if it had already happened. And then when I fast forward and I saw that the card for Monday night was like August the 12th. Well, the two shows somehow, before I got them, had been mislabeled, and the one that was supposed to be the 11th was the 3rd, and vice versa. So I had to
God,
go
I
in
hope
and
I watched the right one then.
Well, I mean, that was like, unless you watched them like before Monday of last week.
No, I didn't. No.
They're correct.
All right, cool beans.
Anyway, so August 3rd, 1991, and Dave Brown is flying solo this week. Michael St. John is under the weather, but he'll be back next week. And right out of the gate, we hear that Leatherface is going to be in a singles match today. Eric Embry is going to be here. Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller. And that damn video you referenced earlier, Walking in Memphis. I hated when this would happen, when they would play a video and then you would see it the next week and probably the following week. So hope y'all like that one because you're gonna see it a couple of times here. But we got a main event of Bill Dundee and Danny Davis, and then he doesn't really say who's on the other side. And that seemed kind of odd to me, and then we'll find out why there was no need to mention their opponents. But don't want to spoil that. That's BT's job. So before we go to the first match, they pitch to – or they don't even pitch to it. It just comes on. What I've labeled for Facebook and YouTube, the USWA Chainsaw Massacre. They have went and made a little vignette of their own that's like their own version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they've got this music playing and the tension builds with the music as this lady's running through. That's probably out behind Jerry Jarrett's house or something, if I had to guess, like all the other great Memphis videos over the years. But I'm not going to include it here because the majority of our listeners do just that. They listen on audio. And so this would be 3 minutes of just odd music playing if you were only listening to it. So if you want to see this video, and you should go out of your way to see this, it's going to be up over on the Facebook, and it's going to be up at the Retro Wrestling Archive YouTube channel.
So, Gene, this wasn't from any of the movies. This is something that they made.
Yeah, this is something they shot with. That is their Leatherface. Who knows who the hell's under the mask? Because now it seems to be a debate every week on who's under the mask. Every time I post a Leatherface video on Facebook, it turns into a damn argument in the comments of who the hell it is, and I've just stayed out of it now because week to week I have no freaking clue who this is most of the time. So, but yeah, this is definitely one they shot specifically for USWA. So that's fun. You know,
I got a note on that about who it is when after we get through with this match. I talked to Tony Myers yesterday.
Okay.
So he had something, Chainsaw Tony or whatever his gimmick was over there, but he did this gimmick for a long time in Japan. Still plans to go over and do another one, but he said a couple of things about it. So yeah.
Okay. So the first match, Leatherface with Tojo Yamamoto taking on TD Steel. And I didn't get a clip of this because we watched, a couple of Leatherface matches recently. So watching this match compared to the other ones we've seen, do you guys agree this is definitely a different one than the one who wrestled Lawler in that first match, and then maybe even different than the one who wrestled Jeff Jarrett last week? I'm not sure.
To me, it kind of seems like it was the one that was here last week, but yeah, definitely different from the luchador one from the first match where he gets on top rope and does some shit. But yeah, still with the realism, just basically punches, bashing him with the forearms, and then he hits him with the stun gun, which every single son of a bitch that he drops on that top rope, it looks like it hurts. It looks real. So they're definitely getting over the realism in this. And that fucking video before this match, when I was 9 years old, dude, I wore this fucking tape out. I loved this shit. It absolutely scared me. It was like a moth to a flame. And I believed it. I believed that it was real. There's a murderer here. And yeah, I loved it.
I did too. I love this. I really just thought that was a scene out of a movie. Now I'm going to put them over for doing that. That was awesome. So we're going to get an extra push with him, I guess, because I guess until Monday night when he gets his mask taken off. I'm just guessing on that. But I did call Tony, and Tony says, I said, who was under the mask in 1991? And Tony says, at least 5 people. Is what he told me.
Check out with what we've been hearing, yeah.
He also said that was all Lawler's gimmick. All that stuff was owned by Lawler. He was just booking the monsters and stuff and letting Embry book everything else. So that was Lawler's gimmick. Did you notice the chainsaw did not turn on this week?
Right. I was going to say that. And they did.
It's like they heard what you said because they kind of did the angle where they was holding him back from turning it on and everything. He said that one of the guys under the mask, you mentioned this last week, but he said it was Johnny Rotten, but not the Johnny Rotten that was with Sid, but Johnny Rotten who eventually become Johnny Grunge.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so I
didn't know he had ever been in Memphis. That's interesting.
I didn't either. He said one of them was him. So one of Public Enemy, they were Public Enemy, and they were in ECW, WCW, WWF. But he said one of them was him. But Lawler that was all Lawler's gimmicks. So when someone came in, he would just hand them everything and say, all right, wear this. So I guess they did get in trouble for the chainsaw going off, and then they just decided to bring it out but not turn it on. Because he drops it as soon as he slides into the ring, and then he goes to get it, and they're trying to keep him from doing it. So
I thought that's the way to do it, because when Leatherface comes through that curtain without a chainsaw, it completely takes me out of it.
Yes. Oh,
even
I
if
agree,
it's not
too.
Running,
Yeah.
So, so they've got the chains on him, and Tojo's struggling to keep him under control. But he gets the win over TD Steel, and they get him out of there. So then we hear from the King. I didn't clip this interview, but he's got his purple shirt on there, and he's unhappy because he lost the World Heavyweight title last week to Awesome Kong. But apparently he can blame this on Leatherface and his Embry and all these guys. So right now we're not even really hardly talking about looking to get the title back from Awesome Kong. All our focus is on Leatherface, and we're going to put Lawler's hair versus Leatherface's mask. And Dave screws up a couple different times, but Lawler's here to correct him the second time he says it, to say that Lawler has never put his hair on the line or never lost his hair before. And finally, Lawler had to, point out, like, he famously lost his freaking hair in 87.
So we're covering that, by the way.
Angles. Yeah, one of the most talked about angles of all time. Now, granted, as people these days will go back and say, when Lawler got his head shaved, like, now, all right, let's be honest. There was a guard on there. He got a haircut, a short haircut. He didn't get his head shaved. But with the first time Dave said it in the intro earlier, he's like, Lawler's never lost his hair. I'm like, where were you at, Dave? Jesus Christ, he famously lost his hair. And then the next time, I seen Lawler's face when he said it, and Lawler's like, well, yeah, I did the one time, and then they kind of moved past it. But you pretty much know that Leatherface's mask is coming off Monday night, because at his age, I don't think Lawler's going to risk another haircut, even a short haircut with a guard on it. Because I can attest, the older you get and you shave your head, the less and less that come back each time. And
Lawler, there's stories about Lawler coming out of comas, and the first thing that he says is, how's my hair look? He's having somebody fix his hair while he's barely being able to talk. That's the first thing he's worried about. So, yeah, it's a big deal for Lawler to put his hair on the line. I thought it was a really good promo, but he was a little racist there talking about Reggie B. Fine's big lips. That he made Reggie B. Fine's lips big from punching him in the face. So,
well, I figured you liked that, so I was waiting to let you mention it. I knew you was going to bring it up because, one, you don't like Reggie B. Fine, and two, you're right. Well,
right.
So after that, we get Eric Embry and Tojo Yamamoto out here. Eric's wrestling Chris Frazier. It feels like this has happened multiple times. Like, I know we've at least seen him wrestle Chris Frazier probably 2 other times at least. But anyway, he makes pretty short work of Chris Frazier, and he's fired up at Cousin Harold. And he's out here, he's yelling, "Where's Fatso?" Referring to Cousin Harold, which at this point in Eric Embry's career feels kind of ironic when he's calling people fat. But anyway, here's a look at Eric coming out through the curtain there, and this promo with Tojo in the background waving the Texas flag relentlessly. We're actually going to listen to a little bit of this because, I don't know, for some reason, Tojo Yamamoto in a cowboy hat just waving the Texas flag nonstop is endlessly funny to me. I was laughing through this whole promo. Ever since Tojo's walked out in the cowboy hat, first of all, that's just a hilarious sight. And then when he's got the Texas flag, it just doubles. So
we need a Tojo T-shirt in that cowboy hat.
We might have to. Cowboy
with a Texas
Tojo
flag in the background.
Yeah. All right, Smokey, get to work on the design for that, sir. That's a good call there, Brian. So Embry's pretty freaking outraged here. So let's hear what gripes he has towards Cousin Harold.
Other ring, the white girl going out behind her, pulls her down. Out for the white girl, starts flying away on her. You look out, dirty white girl. Eric Embry has her, throws her up into the ring. Anthony throws Miss Texas in. White girl, look out, it's Embry with Tony Anthony outside the ring. Cousin Harold comes in. Too late as Pritchard just leveled the dirty white girl. Firing off on each other now. Tony Anthony outside the ring now. With Pritchard, but Cousin Harold says, wait a minute. As Embry had a pair of scissors that he got from Tojo. There goes Embry over the top rope. Embry just yanked the chair out from under me I was sitting in. Oh! metal chair on Cousin Harold.
Well, he will not leave Eric Embry here at Tojo waving that.
Hey, it's real simple. Don't you ever take a commercial and leave me out here again. That's real simple. Jerry Lawler, you're out here running your mouth about you got this, the Leatherface. You ain't gonna do nothing, Lawler. Now, Eddie Martin. Oh, Eddie Martin. Hey, come here, Dave Brown. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. Just shut up and listen. Let me ask you something. I'm gonna tell you something. Ever since I've been here, man, I have outsmarted, I have outwhooped everybody I've come up against, especially the matchmaker Eddie Martin. I've outthought you, I've outsmarted you. But Eddie Marlin, I'm man enough to come out here and say, man, that you copped one on me. You copped one on me. Real simple, Dave Brown. That big fat Cousin Harold against me. The loser gets their head shaved. Well, Eddie Marlin, I don't have to say what you're trying to do, man, because I know what you're trying to do. And you know what I did? I said, I ain't gonna have the match, man. And I picked up the telephone. I packed my bags, and I called the USWA office in Dallas, Texas. And I said, I'm coming home. Eddie Marlin can shove the USWA where the sun don't shine in Tennessee. And you know what they told me? They told me if I walked out of here, I couldn't wrestle in Texas no more either.
So some first-class acting there on Eric Embry's part. I mean, he looks like he literally is about to cry because they told him he couldn't wrestle in Texas if he leaves Tennessee. Jumping back to the initial clip there from last Monday night, it's funny because, like, Cousin Harold just looks like a monster there as Embry's cracking him in the head of the chair, and he's completely no-selling it until he trips on something there at ringside and nearly eats shit. Kind of takes away from that whole vibe they had going there. And then, of course, nobody does the outraged, pissed-off promo better than Embry does here. Get over here, Dave. I'm going to ask you something. Shut up. Dave's just like, fuck you, dude. What do you guys think of all this?
The clip, though, like, yeah, until the trip, it was doing what it did for Awesome Kong last week, because as shitty of an idea as it seems to have just a farmer come in and try to beat somebody's ass because they're cousins with somebody. I mean, that just, but like seeing that visual of Embry, literally, I mean, he swung it and he just, bam, you could hear the impact and no sell, no nothing, just like straight up Michael Myers. Like that visual it did 10 times better than anything he could have done in the ring for that mystique and trying to get that shit over. And then Embry in the promo, I don't know what I'm going to do. He seems legit nervous, scared. I don't know if I'm going to have to make a bomb, what the fuck I'm going to do. But yeah, the way that he sold the reaction of Uncle Harold or Cousin Harold was just, it was priceless.
And if you remember back to their initial reaction, the first time, when they first mentioned the name Cousin Harold before he appeared, and I think I want to believe, and BT, you can chime in on this in a second. I want to believe this is smarts on Embry's part, where they come out and they just over the top laughed and ha-ha'd and he heated up about Cousin Harold. And now once he's had to fight Cousin Harold, now he's got a whole new attitude about it the next week, which they're hoping will pass off to the fans there. I think that's really smart. Maybe it's just coincidence, but I don't think so. What do you think, BT?
I agree with you there, because, the rule is you're not supposed to shit on your opponent too bad, because if he beats you, then it makes you look bad because you're a loser, He shit on him and then put him over at the, I want to say Mid-South Coliseum, at the Pipkin building. And I mean, I loved it. Just like Josh said, I like but it also gave me that crowd. By the way, was so fucking hot and loud.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss that. But it also gave us a look, which I thought was funny. That seems to be the best look we've had of the Pipkin building, and it was really small. I mean, it didn't look small until that when Embry was moving out and you saw the walls. You could really get a good picture of it because they've kept the camera here and just a couple of times in the crowd, so you could see that it was really small. Embry promo, perfect, exactly what he should have done. And I have a question for y'all, and it's something Josh said. I don't know if he was kidding or if this is true. I've heard other people say this before, but is Chris Frazier Stan Frazier's legit son?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that for sure until I worked a show with him. Well, I actually was involved in a run-in that he was involved with, and I hit him a few times, and he didn't sell it, and so then I kicked him, and he sold that. And when we got back there, I pulled some aside. How is this motherfucker in the business? Like, how is he still around? He has sucked from way back when. They're like, well, when your daddy's Plowboy Frazier, you can do that. And I'm like, wait, that's a real thing? And they're like, yeah, that's how he got in the business, and that's why he's been able to suck, because it's like family tradition. But, I mean, he had Plowboy Frazier's, nearly 7 foot tall and 500 pounds. He's an attraction. Chris, not so much. But
yeah,
I'm sure he's a wonderful human being, and there was, but my experience with him there wasn't great. But, yeah, that's the night somebody confirmed it was Coco that told us that, actually.
Well, Chris is the one I always tell the story. He stood in the dressing room the whole night with his mask on. He kayfabed everybody in the dressing room because he thought he was fucking Mil Mascaras. So
he's a worker, brother.
Oh, God.
So I have reached out to everybody I know that has any bit of knowledge about 91 or was around that time or knew people who were around that time, and no one has any clue where Cousin Harold came from or where he went after this. But most people, when I have said this, said that's very likely that he's probably somebody from the wrestling school, that maybe started and then didn't finish or do anything beyond this. But
Tony Anthony might know, but other than that, I don't know. Embry might know, but Tony Anthony might be the one if we could get a hold of him.
I may see if our buddy Mike Needham, who does the podcast with Tony from time to time, Mike can reach out to Tony and see if Tony has an answer to that. Or, our buddy Rob has had contact off and on with Eric Embry, so maybe we'll eventually we'll be able to ask Embry some questions. I'm certainly hoping so. But anyway, good points all the way around about Cousin Harold and how he changed everyone, including our perception of him there with that. Because, man, Eric Embry was not cutting him any slack with that chair, dude. He was cracking him right across the noggin with it. So, tough guy. So then we plug all the dates coming up around the territory: Holly Springs, Grenada, Bolivar, Jonesboro, Kennett, as Michael St. John used to say, Kennett. I visited with my parents who are from Kennett, Missouri, and was telling them about that. And my dad's like, yeah, there's anytime, he said, especially Yankees, would say Kennett. So I don't think did Michael St. John originally come from up north? Once he said that, I thought, he doesn't really sound all that Southern.
I have no idea, but that is just a weird pronunciation, and no one corrected him either. So,
yeah. He finally, somebody smartened him up off camera. Like Dave was decent enough not to correct him on camera, but after
he finally got it right. Okay,
he finally said it right. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Because there were a couple times if they're both on camera, you could see Dave wince. He'd go, Kennett, Missouri, and Dave's like, oh.
Yeah, being a weatherman, he knows how to pronounce every town in the area. So,
exactly. So then we get a promo from the Barroom Brawlers, former tag team partners, because now they've split their team. They had that match with Fuller and Jarrett, and we're actually paying it off for once. They beat Sabu and Judge Dredd, and we never really talked about they were split up, but they just kind of faded into obscurity after that. But not forever, apparently, at least for one of them. But anyway, they're talking about how they each have singles matches with Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller this week, and if they beat them, they're both loser leave town matches. So this is an interesting concept in theory from a kayfabe perspective because, all right, well, what happens if one barroom brawler beats Robert Fuller, but then Jeff Jarrett beats the other one, and now they've effectively split the team because one of them's had to leave town. Now we're missing a tag team champion. So the Brawlers could throw a monkey wrench into everything here Monday night. We'll find out from BT a little later on if that's how that played out or not. I didn't clip the promo from the Barroom Brawlers as I just haven't heard of it. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys may find them wildly entertaining, either in a good way or a bad way. I just don't really find it entertaining in any way. I'm just like, oh, stop letting these guys talk. But I did get a clip of some stuff with Jarrett and Fuller, and no, it's not the Walking in Memphis video.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Let's check this out. And I don't remember. This is kind of a long clip. I may have snuck in a little bit of the Barroom Brawlers in here. I don't remember. Let's see what we got.
And here they are, Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller headed this way. I'd like to talk to them just before they go up to the ring. They're scheduled today in a tag team match here on USWA Action. Sabu is headed into the ring right now. All right, somebody keep an eye on him. Maybe we get Robert Jeff over here. Robert, welcome in.
Walking in Memphis was fun, I got to tell you,
Walking with those belts again.
We might be walking our last time in Memphis. We don't get ourselves together this upcoming week.
Well, we are. I sat down and listened to the Barroom Brawlers, and they told lie after lie after lie, but they had one thing right, and Dave, you hit on it just a little second ago. Yeah, you said one thing right. Me and Robert Fuller are a great team. We've gone through the Brawlers, the Hangman, every team that's been put in front of us. But you guys, yeah, you out here saying that you don't think we can hold our own in single matches? Well, let me just tell you a little bit about the Stud's background. When he first started wrestling, that's what he was. He was a single wrestler, and that's how he made his name. No, he wasn't with a pack of horses. He was by himself. He made himself the name, Tennessee Stud.
Leader of the pack.
The leader of the pack, yeah. He's had the Stud stable, and he's always led guys. The meanest bunch of guys that ever assembled in wrestling. So, boys, you better get ready because the Stud's going to bring everything he's got, and he's going to run you clean out of town.
And I want to say a few things, about Jeff. For the people that hadn't followed his background, I've gone out and checked when I decided that I would take this loser leave town. I went out and checked a little bit on Jeff's background. When Jeff first started, he didn't win his first match. And he probably didn't win his first 15 matches because, it's hard to get a start in this profession as any other. But one thing Jeff did do, 1986, that was his first year in professional wrestling. He won the honors of Rookie of the Year. And I happen to know that there's more guys starting in this business year by year by year. That is one of the hardest titles that you can ever win, Rookie of the Year. 6 months later, Jeff went on to the Cotton Bowl, one of the biggest programs ever put together in professional wrestling, and beat the great Texas star Eric Embry himself right there for the Texas Heavyweight Championship, and then went on to win the Southern title, and then went on to win what I feel is the most prestigious title in the world today, the World Tag Team Championships for the USWA. We are rated number 1, number 2 in your wrestling magazines throughout the whole country as a tag team. As singles, I can tell you this, I came to put this man one time about 2 years ago out of professional wrestling, and I never set in my mind to do anything I didn't get done. That I did not get done, thank goodness, because the guy wound up to be the greatest friend I ever had, let alone the greatest partner that I ever had. I can say this, if they think that they're going to put Jeff or myself, one of us or either the two of us out of professional wrestling where the USWA is concerned, they're going to have another thing coming because we're the world's champions. We're not dumping these belts because we lose to a couple of slobs like you guys. I can tell you this, boys, where I'm concerned, and I know Jeff backs me up, You want to come out there and grab your chairs on the way out, load yourself down with artillery, buckle it up real tight, son, because this man right here ain't going down for nobody, let alone the likes of you two bums. And there's one thing we love about it. When this thing is all over and the dust clears, the two ugliest, good-for-nothing, grimiest bums that's ever come into the USWA are going to be gone. And that's it.
All right, Robert and Jeff.
Whew. At one point, all we were missing was a couple of Jerry Lawler drawings out there from this being This Is Your Life, Jeff Jarrett. I mean, Robert runs down his entire career at one point, at least up to this this moment in time. I don't know, like, I'm somewhat amused, but mostly annoyed at these promos from them each and every week. But at least this one didn't center around, they're trying to split us up as a team, and of course, Robert Fuller has to mention every single week that he used to try to whoop Jeff Jarrett's ass and tried to put him out of wrestling. But good thing he didn't, because now, not only is Jeff Jarrett the best tag team partner he's had, this is his best friend. That's why they're out walking around Memphis pointing at shit together, because they're just good old buddies now. What do you think?
I like that they were trying to get him a hype video and stuff, but 2 fucking weeks in a row of walking in Memphis, like I still feel the same way that I do now that I did back then. That shit is like what I would consider grown folks music, like this.
I guess I'm a grown folk. I love that song.
Like Steve Winwood and all that shit. It's just grown people shit. Like, I hated the song back then. I did like Robert Fuller and Jeff Jarrett, but I am sick of the goddamn history lessons every fucking promo. Like, I understand we've already covered this shit. Like, it doesn't have to be a life lesson every fucking time. Like I'm seeing now that, I do have this thing for nostalgia, and I view it in a certain light, but when you inspect the shit out of it and analyze it, you might feel about it differently. I'm kind of suffering from that right now.
I hate when that happens, and me and Gene's talked about that a lot. We talked about it on here, but almost every podcast we come up with, when we got smartened or got into business and came out of it, you have a total different look, and it sometimes just makes you crabby and bitchy about stuff that happens. You know what bothered me about all of this? And this was because it said Brawler number 1 and Brawler number 2. They still have not named them motherfuckers, and they're fixing to. I won't spoil that, but they never named them. They never did. They never named them at all, and that's the part that pissed me off. And I am tired of Fuller, riding Jarrett's sack every fucking promo. It's all it's about was let's ride his sack.
They take turns every week seeing who can put the other one over more. But to Josh's point, when you got a studio full of people chanting "Get Buck," do you think walking in Memphis is going to get over with them? Do you think they want to hear that more than once? No, definitely not. And I find it funny because, like you pointed out, BT, like you and I have a big problem with taking ourselves back and looking at this through 1991 eyes. And Josh is really, really good at that, and even he is starting to have trouble doing it that way because some of the stuff's becoming so repetitious, and just even for 91, again, it's just not cool. Like these guys going around sightseeing to the song "Walking in Memphis" shows kind of out of touch Jerry Jarrett was, because he's sitting there, scratching his head like, "What can we do?" Oh, I got an idea, and this is what he come up with. Now, I'm going to pitch an idea. This is probably something I should do off the air or on the hot mics, but I'm going to do it right here on the main show because I want people. By the time it's too late by the time anybody hears this. But here's what needs to happen, BT. When Rob comes to Jonesboro, you and him need to get somebody to shoot y'all walking around Jonesboro pointing at stuff. Especially maybe even a certain person's house, or if you see his car that he's over there Ubering in. And then Richard, who's a master, as we all know, and Josh knows all too well, of AI music, maybe we could get Richard to put together a Walking in Jonesboro song that we could put to a video of you and Rob walking around Jonesboro and just pointing at things, whatever those. It doesn't even have to be anything important. Just like, hey, here's the Pizza Inn over there. Gene likes that place, and we could run that, and then we'll run that video for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row here on the show. And then the funny part of that'll be people listening to it can't even see the video. They're just stuck listening to that damn song every week. But at least maybe it'll be fun. But just an idea. You don't have to do it. But,
Oh, Lord.
So then Lawler comes back to talk again about the Coliseum, and he talks about his local appearances and just the typical. Sometimes it's the first time out, sometimes it's the second time out, but you always get. I ain't gonna say always, but a lot of times you're always going to get the one random promo about, next week we're going to be in Greenville, Mississippi, and hey, Dave, we got this big benefit softball doubleheader in Somerville, Tennessee. Come see Lawler's Army. And, oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to be signing autographs at the furniture store and possibly getting free tickets. And I used to wonder, I used to bitch about this on the 85 show and go, why does he not just get all this out of the way at once? Why does he have to come out 2 or 3 times? And then it hit me like, well, because they've got to chop this up for the different shows, and the ones that they're playing in the other towns, they don't need to hear about all this bullshit he's doing locally around Memphis. So Memphis is the only people hearing this. So now I kind of get it. So it doesn't bug me as much when this happens, because it's always going to happen when we have the good 90-minute versions of the show, which me and BT can tell you is rough when you don't have the 90-minute version and you're trying to do reviews and you got to match last week's card with this week's show. And, well, this is the 90-minute version, so this week it really isn't going to coincide with next week's show because we've only got the 60-minute version. It turns into a freaking math equation, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And the funny thing is, you just started putting them in my folder. I think you kind of felt sorry for me hunting for the 90-minute version of everything that we had. But, yeah, because you're watching – so you would be watching the Evansville show for the week after, and you will be covering the Monday night card for the week before. And it just gets really – like, I think the Evansville show came on a Saturday, but the Monday night card had already happened. But you want to put that card up. It's just, it gets confusing.
If I had realized how few 90-minute episodes of 87 there was, we would have done 87. But we're in it now, so we're forge ahead. So, well, the happy couple, or maybe they're happy. I hope they're happy. I don't know. We were a little confused about that last week. Let's check back in with the Dirty White Boy and the Dirty White Girl and see how things are going after last week's surprise proposal here on USWA Wrestling.
Well, coming into the area right here, Tony Anthony, the Dirty White Boy, and Kim, Dirty White Girl, headed this way. Let's see if we can talk to him just for a couple of minutes here before we get into more action. Tony, I want to talk about the situation coming up with this tag team match.
Yeah, Miss Texas, she's tried everywhere in the world to embarrass and humiliate the Dirty White Girl. And once again, she comes up with some type of match, her and Dr. Tom Pritchard, to where when you lose, you get stripped. Well, Miss Texas, to be perfectly honest, I don't see it happening to the Dirty White Girl or myself. By the time we get through, you're going to be standing there. She's going to look like a jaybird, and we're going to show everybody what them little old spare legs look like. What do you think?
Not only is she going to be standing there with no clothes on, she's going to be standing there without any hair, too, because I'm going to snatch it all out.
And now we get to Dr. Tom Pritchard. Tom, you come out here and you always talking about how great a professional wrestler you are. Well, I give a devil his due, because he is a good, great professional wrestler. But you see, Pritchard, this is not a wrestling match. This is a back alley street brawl. So, son, you get your blue jeans, your cowboy boots, whatever you want to wear, because, brother, this is my type of match. After I get through sticking this fist down your throat, I'm going to strip you like you would a baby, and me and the white girl are definitely going to walk out the winners.
Tony Anthony, the Dirty White Boy. Okay, thank you, Tony. And Kim, Dirty White Girl, they've got a back alley brawl match coming up. They head out.
All right, just so you know, I'm going to Mid-South Coliseum because she might be buck naked. And I'm not talking about black girl, I'm talking about white girl.
That puts us in a weird spot here because in a normal match, you're going to cheer for if you're a fan of the Dirty White Boy and Dirty White Girl, as you're supposed to be, you're going to cheer for them. You're going to want to see them win. But in this scenario where the loser gets stripped naked, you're like, God, I hope she loses tonight. You're rooting against the home team, which is kind of counterproductive. But Dirty White Boy's out here in his Canadian tuxedo. He's ready for this big back alley street brawl, and it kind of turns things around when this is the scenario. Did you ever make it? Did either one of y'all ever make it to one of these shows where we had this promise where somebody was going to be stripped naked in one of these back alley street? I know nobody literally did completely, but they always promised it, even though they never delivered with that. They continue to always promise that that's how it was going to end.
Well, usually in the replays of all of that shit, it's somebody brawling panties and they run out in a tizzy or something. So it's like something's always interrupting it. But yeah, spoiler, you don't have to convince me to be there Monday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we might as well ask that question this week.
I have been at one of the spot shows where they did this, and it's just they just yank the pants off and the guy takes off. That's kind of what they do. But I always was real confused about this match when I was a kid. I was like, it's real gay, especially when it's just two guys. One of them's trying to take the other guy's clothes off. And Ken Wayne said that Jimmy Hart, every time they did one of these matches on spot shows, would get completely buck naked. They would rip Jimmy Hart stuff off instead of the heel stuff. And he would be running around with a towel or something in front of his wanker there. But everything else he would be buck naked at the spot shows.
Good Lord. Yeah, I mean, I kind of understand it, like in the women's feud, even though it still doesn't make sense psychology-wise for them, but they know it's going to sell tickets. But, like, they do these feuds where somebody's been having matches back and forth 3 or 4 weeks, and it's like, now I'm so mad at you, Josh. The only way for me and you to settle this blood feud is for me to strip you bare-ass naked right there at the Coliseum. Like, how is that even...
It's almost like it's a means to an end to get to see the girls, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like Larry Flint's booking shit now or something. It's like, we have got to see these tits. We've got to find some way. And I'm gonna be honest with you, as a 9-year-old, I never even considered seeing Tony Anthony naked because like I would have laser vision where I needed it anyway, so I didn't even give a fuck. I was like, oh man, I hope they show it.
That would just be collateral damage if you got her, then you'd be like, all right, well, we might see more of Tony Anthony than we want to, but we'll just avoid that. But
Patreon story coming up.
Okay, there you go. There's your tease for the week, everybody. I just wish I could be in a room whenever they pitch this, like when Jarrett and Eddie Marlin and whoever, like, we've done everything. What kind of match can we have them do? Well, let's have a southern street back alley street brawl. All right, but then how do you win? What if they had to strip them naked?
Where did this start? Yeah, where did this all start at?
Why would they strip them naked? Well, because that's humiliating. If you think so, Eddie, it'll work. It'll be great. It's probably one of Eddie Marlin's probably having a match against Miss Texas or some shit or somebody. Well, before she was around, but I don't know. It's just crazy. I just know that had I gone to the Coliseum in '93 on one of those weeks where Burt Prentice was in one of these, I never would have cheered harder for Burt Prentice to win a match than I would the weeks that if he lost, he was getting stripped. Because Jesus, you talk about kill the town. Kill the town and kill you ever having. Anyway, all right, up next, when we heard the card earlier, which we haven't discussed it here, but the brand new unified world heavyweight champion Awesome Kong was scheduled to wrestle a guy named Samson who was coming in to challenge for the title. Well, here's the debut of Samson in action. Take a look at this week's challenger for the title.
I promised you earlier that we would be introducing you to Samson. Here he comes, headed up to the ring area right now. And I see him coming around, this way, and steps up on the apron. He's a big one, let me tell you. Referee Paul Neighbors watching the situation, calls for the bell to sound, and we are underway. Sampson against the Scorpion. Boy, the Scorpion, I don't know, he may have a weight advantage on Sampson, but he sure doesn't have a height advantage. Sampson, he doesn't have a strength advantage either. Did you see that? Sampson just pushed him back into the ring, knocked him right down on the mat. Scorpion, Scorpion says he had to have pulled my mask. He can't be that strong. I think he is. Sampson with that wrist. He just shoves the Scorpion back down to the mat again. Keep in mind now, this Scorpion, he doesn't weigh 150 pounds. He weighs up in the neighborhood of probably 260, 280. He's a big one. And Sampson having no trouble moving him around the ring. Look at this. Picks him straight up in the air. A body slam. And a Scorpion holding his back as he gets back on his feet. He's not used to anybody being big enough to slam him like that. Sampson with a clothesline. And the Scorpion again hits the mat. That's where he's been a good part of the day so far. On the mat. Sampson with a forearm. Has the Scorpion back on the ropes, whips him across the way, catches him with the upper arm coming off of there, and a Scorpion perplexed, can't figure out what's happening here. Sampson again sends him into the ropes. Oh my goodness, he grabs him. Hey, he had to give it up. Sampson able to get a submission hold as he grabbed the Scorpion coming off those ropes. And a Scorpion, as he put the squeeze on, the Scorpion immediately yelled, "Yeah, I give it up, I give it up." And Sampson.
Okay, so the guy's not awful by Memphis standards, but he certainly, if I'm watching him, I'm not thinking, boy, this guy ought to go straight to the top and get a world heavyweight title shot. Now, granted, this week was super busy. I didn't have time to do my usual due diligence to find out who this guy is, but the little bit of digging I did get a chance to do, I didn't come up with anything. You guys any idea who this guy is and where he came from or where he went?
Yeah, I know where he came from. So Jerry Lawler's neck doctor got with Rob Zakowski, and they started the Professional Wrestlers School of Charisma and Facials, and this was their first dropout. Like, it was fucking horrible. Horrible. I've had aunts at fucking Christmas at the table with more charisma than that motherfucker. He had zero facials. Zero. He didn't register nothing. It was like somebody found him on a construction site, because if you notice, his goddamn legs were whiter than, Casper the Friendly Ghost, but his upper body was tan. So they got him from a construction site or some shit because they liked his size and his mullet, and they put him in there. Like, awful.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, he's not the worst I've ever seen. Like, he's one of these guys like, all right, well, this is going to be some dude that's going to wrestle in first and second matches of the card for 2 or 3 weeks, and then he'll fade off into obscurity. But I got to say something. Kudos. You had me hook, line, and sinker. Like, I leaned in and thought, I'm supposed to learn some shit right here. Like, Uncle Danny must have smartened him up who this guy was. And you had me all the way until you dropped the line about School of Charisma. And then I was like, oh, my God. Damn it. He got me. Well played, sir. Well played.
I thought so, too. I was like, damn. He knows who it is? And I was like, damn, Josh got it. But, yeah, not impressed with this guy. I was impressed with his size. Don't get me wrong. If if that was Vince McMahon, Vince would have been jacking off to a guy that size and using that the bear hug, which I have no problem with that. It's a move that no one uses, especially during this time, where everybody's using the DDT. But I like him using that move. But what puts him in the world, title picture?
Yeah.
What?
Look at him! Look at him!
we should have got there quicker. Like Scorpion should have charged him, clothesline, bear hug, over.
Right.
And at least we might have had some, okay, wow. Maybe we would have thought, more of him going into this title match, but 2 minutes of that felt like 30 of just nothing of, look at me, I'm strong, But
he looked like he was embarrassed to be out there in that shit.
He did. You're right. He looked
Sure
embarrassed.
was.
He may have just been, scared. You just don't know.
Well, you talked about Lawler handing people the Leatherface thing. I feel like they found this muscle dude, like you said, on a job site somewhere, Josh. And somebody's like, hey, we can get you in the ring. And he shows up, and they're like, here, put this on. He's like, what? And they're like, yeah, you're going to be Samson. Put this on. He's like, no, man, I got to go. And like, no, don't you leave. It'll be fine. And then, yeah, he had a look on his face like, I hope my mom's not watching this.
He said, Indian moccasins are where I draw the line. But I ain't got no extra boots, so I wear them. Like, what was that?
I mean, can I wear one of these monster masks or something? Y'all ain't got Jason or Freddy or something? They're like, no, we did that already. It didn't work. So here we go. BT's favorite point of the show. We gave you a reprieve last week, but we got to watch a little bit of this. Let's hear from Reggie B. Fine, speaking on behalf of the heavyweight champion. He's even got the belt because, he's got all the gold now.
This is all we need to see right here. Reggie B. Fine. Reggie is carrying the world title. Got the fur coat. Got all the gold back on. Reggie B. Fine. Reggie, you've got that belt now, but I wouldn't get used to having it.
Hey, it sounds like conspiracy, man. Hey, hold this up a little further. You see what I did with the $10,000 bonus money, didn't you, baby? I know you low budgets like this, don't you? I know y'all like this.
You spent all the money and didn't give your wrestler any of it, it looks like.
Hey, you let me worry about that, brother. You let me worry about that. Only thing I got to say, hey, it's going to be a long time before the King see this again, baby. You know what I mean? It's going to go right up on my shelf with all the rest of the gold I got. You see, I still got all my gold.
I see that. I see it.
Awesome Kong beat Lawler like a dog, man. But you know what? I'm going to give the devil his due. Lawler put up a good fight. My man here was bruised up a little bit. He cheated, hit them all in the face, and jumping up when his back was turning, all of those stuff. But I will give the devil his due. Lawler is a nice wrestler. You know what I mean? He's a good top 10 wrestler. But he'll never get another shot at this, baby. Never.
You're not going to give him a return?
He will never get a return. Now, we got some punk. I just seen him up in the ring. What's his name? Samson?
Samson.
Yeah, Samson. Now, he's pretty. He looks nice. He got a nice bite on him. But you know what? I remember a little fairy tale about 20,000 years ago, something. I don't know. I don't remember. But you remember that old fairy tale with Samson and Dolores, right?
Samson and Delilah, I think it was.
Well, Denise, Delilah, whoever she was, the bimbo, you seen what the bimbo did to the boy, right? But when he get in the ring with Awesome Kong, it's going to be the same flavor, baby. Because Awesome Kong going to grab that boy in the back of his head and snatch every hair out of it. He going to go down like a punk. 1, 2, 3. We're going to beat him, and we're going to beat each and every one of our opponents we get in this ring with. And there's one more thing I want to say while I'm thinking about it, man. Last week, before that match started, man, that no good punk Jerry Lawler took one of my gold watches, man.
Oh, come on.
Wait a minute, man. Hey, he took one of my gold watches and threw it to some low-budget redneck buckwheat was sitting out in the crowd. He just don't know. I called my lawyer. Come Monday morning, Jerry Lawler, somebody going to be knocking on your door, boy. And they're going to be the sheriff department issuing you a summons to get my gold Rolex back, man.
Well, we'll see about that. And I tell you another thing we'll see about. As I said, don't get used to hanging onto this belt. Not only is the King looking for it, as the King pointed out, he may be having to wrestle Samson for it because from what we've seen here today, Samson can take care of himself in the wrestling ring. So show up, bring the belt this week, all right?
That boy gonna get beat like a dog, man.
Well, you'll have to be done in the ring, so bring Awesome Kong and we'll see. Back here.
Samson and Dolores.
Loved that. Loved it.
Jerry Lawler not never get another shot at this title. Not
He's a
never.
good wrestler.
Yeah, he what was the line? He's a
Top 10 wrestler.
Yeah, but before that, I forget what he a nice wrestler. What does that even mean? A nice wrestler? Boy, that belt, when he had the belt with him that day, they took some, because he's wearing the exact same thing. They took several pictures of him with that belt. And he has gotten so much mileage out of that. Every gimmick table I've ever seen Reggie have ever since has got a picture of him in that exact outfit with the fur coat, all the gold, and the championship belt. So that was a good day for Reggie right there, I'm quite sure. Samson and Dolores. How can you not like that guy? Come on, BT. That's pure entertainment right there.
This promo was very entertaining. I love the fur coat. I thought it was funny. This is a Bible story, right? Am I wrong here? And he said fairy tale. Fairy tale. I was like,
from 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. And then Dolores and all that. I thought that was funny. I thought the whole, we didn't have him stay out there, too long. And what he said was funny. I'll go Reggie be fine, thumbs up this week.
Wow. I remember watching. Yeah, that's a big one right there. I remember watching these back in the day and thinking, man, that Reggie dude's pretty funny. Like, he puts on, he plays that character well. And then the more I've gotten to know Reggie be fine over the years, he's not playing a character. That's not a put on. Like, that's who he is. And he probably thought that it was Samson and Dolores, a fairy tale from 2,000 years ago. But that's what makes it funny. And the other thing that makes it funny to me, Lance always seemed kind of genuinely amused with Reggie. Like, you'd see him laughing, and I know Reggie has said in interviews that, Lance told him that he always looked forward to talking to him every week because he always made him laugh because he never knew what he was going to say. But Dave seems like BT. He seems genuinely put out with him. And then, like, when he started in about the Rolex, I think Dave really was literally fixing to wrap that interview up because he was just over it. Which that also makes it funny to me.
Reggie had to tell, hey, come on, man, come over here for a second, and then finish what he was saying. But I remember, thinking back when I first watched this, like, as a kid, I thought it was hilarious that he called the police on Jerry Lawler to come arrest him.
I forgot about that.
Usually you didn't have that in wrestling, people threatening the police and stuff, but with that character, that was the cherry on top for me. that tickled the shit out of me as a kid. Like, and the fur coat and Dave insinuating that he kept all the money and stuff. Like, so Reggie be fine, man. It's the little tiny things that just make up that mountain of awesomeness. And like, nobody else can play that character like that.
No, and he said a combination of 3 words together that I don't know anybody. I've never heard them said together before. You bunch of low-budget redneck buckwheats. A redneck buckwheat? Like, what the hell is that? Anyway, Dave announces we're going to have a time change for USWA. Moving forward, it's going to be on at 10 a.m. I don't remember that, but I don't think it lasted very long, apparently. And so after that, it's time for equal time. We heard Dirty White Boy and Dirty White Girl talking about the Back Alley Street Brawl. Well, Dr. Rod Pritchard has got something to say back to him.
Beginning next Saturday, so be sure to be watching, beginning at 10 o'clock next Saturday morning. Right here, Dr. Tom Pritchard and Ms. Texas. You've got the Texas belt in hand, I see.
You know something else that gets me? As I look around the USWA, I see people like Eddie Marlin. I see people like Jerry Lawler who get their way every time they turn around. But you see, Monday night, for all these people who think that the Dirty White Girl is so fine looking, and they have fantasies in their mind about her and wonder what she'd look like with nothing on at all. For all you people that think she's so hot, I got news for you. That little bird-legged, spindly-legged, big-nosed, hog-faced little girl is going to be completely stripped down Monday night at the Coliseum, where all you perverts can get your looks and can get your jolly. Because I'll tell you this, Monday night,
The losing team is going to be the man, is going to be the woman that's going to be stripped completely. And I can tell you this, in the Coliseum, what a better way to do it, Miss Texas. What a better way to show everybody exactly what that ugly, bird-leg, disgusting little girl looks like when you tear off her entire clothes. What do you think?
Well, let me tell you something. Dirty white girl, Monday night, the loser get their clothes ripped off. I'm going to show you a little bony tail something that you don't mess with Miss Texas. Because the only thing big on your body is that big nose.
That's right, and we're going to show everybody, if you want to see what this dirty white girl looks like with all her clothes torn off. For all you guys, bring your cameras, because this is going to be your chance. Me and Miss Texas are doing it all.
Dr. Tom Pritchard and Miss Texas back here with tag team action. The superstar, the Nightmare, in just a moment.
Oh
Man.
Yeah, so Tom Pritchard at first was turning babyface, promising everybody they was going to get what they wanted to see. And then at the end, he had to pump the brakes because if you want to see Miss, and he looks at Miss Texas and go, Miss Dirty White Girl get all her clothes stripped, because he was about to say Miss Texas get her clothes stripped off, be there Monday night, and he realized he was actually telling what's probably going to happen instead of what they want to happen.
Yeah, but
boy.
as a kid, I figured out really quickly, old doctor was right on that first instinct, because did you see when they were walking up to the camera and they got the shot panned at a certain, like, it fixated at a certain one. And as soon as Miss Texas starts walking and them hams start doing this on the back, they immediately panned out just so they could keep a focus on that. And that hypnotized me as a kid. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Either one would be fine.
I was going to say, you can't lose in this situation. Like, this is a ticket seller either way, which I think they're probably smart enough to know that as well. So, yeah, because you're getting over with everybody at that point.
There's just some perversion there, too, with Tom saying, okay, we're going to rip everybody's clothes off. Bring your camera.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's...
All you perverts out there, bring your... I love it. That's such a heel thing.
That's a Saturday night right here at the Tramel household. So, we strip off clothes and we have everyone bring their phones and stuff. But you have to beat somebody up, and it's almost like they're trying to rape them. I don't know, man. This whole deal ripping people's clothes off was always so strange for me. So
as clearly and bluntly as Pritchard put it, I almost feel like Eric Embry pulled him aside and goes, hey, man, make sure these people understand that they going to see some nakedness down there Monday night. And bring their camera. Take a picture of it. I don't give a shit. As long as you buy a ticket, you can video that shit. I don't care. All right. I'll make it very clear. And if you notice, this is now both Tom Pritchard and Eric Embry have both blatantly referred to Dirty White Girl as having a hog face. What a weird term, but they both have called her that. Like, I almost wonder if that's like some kind of rib or something. Like, it's such a weird thing to say, especially about her, and now they've both said it in promos, or maybe he just heard Embry say it and thought it was funny. I don't know, but as soon as he said that, I was like, what is with the freaking hog face references here? That's pretty rough. But boy, he was in full on Rowdy Roddy mode here. My goodness.
Oh yeah.
And I've been hearing some other podcasts from this era that I've been listening to on some of my road trips, seeing if I can get some insight on some things. And it was a topic everywhere, and the dirt sheets and everything. Like, it was much it wasn't just us. It was much talked about by everyone about just exactly how Tom Pritchard was just flat out doing this Roddy Piper impression. And somewhere, I can't remember where, I came across where someone asked Roddy Piper in an interview, had he seen it and what he thought about it. And he said, no, I haven't seen it, but good for him. I like that kid, was his quote. So I thought, well, that's nice that he wasn't mad about it or whatever.
Well, wouldn't they have been working in L.A. around the same time? So maybe
in
that's
Portland, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think Piper was literally working much in Portland then, but they said he would be there hanging out even after he had left, because he lived in Portland. So if he was home, he would drop in. So yeah, I'm sure he had been around Pritchard quite a bit. And so, and of course, Bruce has talked about on his podcast.
Didn't he own a business, him and Lynn Denton or something?
Yeah, I think that was like around 89, 90. They opened Piper's Pit transmission shop, and Lynn ran it for him. So, which is just funny to think of. Like, boy, if reality TV had been a thing back then, I mean, if they could have made a TV show about Piper and Lynn Denton running a transmission shop together.
Can you imagine coming in there? Yeah, like, what are you going to do? The goddamn grappler will beat the fuck out of you.
They're out there arguing with the grappler, and all of a sudden bagpipe music starts playing, and here comes Piper. Ah!
No, he says, I need to see your manager. Well, I can do that for you real quick. And he does a snap. You hear the fucking bagpipe.
First, he gets to speak to the assistant manager. He turns his back, slips a grappler mask on, and turns around, starts cutting a promo. I'm thinking, no, I want to see the owner. Oh, yeah, you've really messed up. So this is a classic example. I've always used the example over the years that I thought that Bill Dundee and Jerry Lawler was two of the best promos and two of the most versatile people in the world of wrestling, because I'd always say Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee could walk out for a promo together, side by side, best friends, and in the course of one promo, they could have you believing they hated each other and they wanted to kill each other, and you got to go see what's going to happen when they wrestle. Well, here's a great example of that, except it's not Bill Dundee and Jerry Lawler. It's Bill Dundee and Nightmare Danny Davis. Check this out. This is, I mean, absolute classic Memphis television here, where you watch an angle develop and unfold right in front of your eyes. Watch this.
Hey, Davis, got a match partners with Bill Dundee here today, but I wanted to give you a chance to say a word or two before you get into the action.
You know, Dave, it's always a pleasure to come out here and talk to you and all the fine fans. And before Bill and I get into our tag match, I'd like to talk about this week's upcoming title defense, because, you know, for the past several months, this belt has meant a lot to me. It's meant a lot to the fans, because I've been a people's champion. Every time I step into the ring, I always try to do the right thing. I always tell the little Nightmare fans, say no to drugs, don't smoke, don't drink, always do what your parents ask you and do the right thing. So, you know, as a champion, you have to accept your challenges from near and far. Now, if a champion could pick his own opponent, that would be easy. I would have nothing but easy wrestling matches, but you know, that's just not the way it is. The promotion has seen fit to book my good friend, my traveling companion, superstar Bill Dundee, in a match against me for this title. And one thing I like about this is it's going to be a scientific match. It's going to be a wrestling match. If the fans come to see a fight, well, you're not going to see a fight, because Bill and I are friends. We've been friends for a number of years. And I know that when I step into that ring, I'm not going to have to worry about Bill using a fist on me. I'm not going to worry about Bill having to pull my hair, you know, like you do with other opponents. That's one thing I respect about Bill Dundee, is that he, in his own right, he is a fantastic man, a good
Danny,
and a good friend.
Hey, brother, let's not sugarcoat this thing no more, man.
What?
Yeah, come on. I don't know if you're trying to zoom me or the people here. We're talking about a belt, the light heavyweight championship of the world, and you got it, and I'd like to have it. So, brother, Dan, come on.
No. I know you want this belt, and I know that all the years that you've wrestled in this area, you've held every major championship that this promotion has to offer except one. The one that you have not held is this title. Now, okay, the promotion saw fit to put us in a match together, but we're friends.
Yeah?
We are friends.
Well, let me ask you this. This may take a day or two to sink after this week. I hope we're friends 3 or 4 days after this match takes place. Just think about that for a little while. Now, just listen to me, Dan. Short of throwing fire at you, short of bringing powder into the ring, or hitting you with a chain, I'm not going to do none of them things, and I don't think you are either.
No.
But, brother, you're going to do everything in your power to hang on to this, and I'm going to do everything in my power to take it.
Did you have to do that?
We're pals, Danny.
Yeah, that's right. We are pals, but you don't have to do that. Yeah, and you're right. I'm not going to throw fire at you. I'm not going to pull your hair. I'm not going to pull a chain out. I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to wrestle you just like friends would wrestle. I'm not going to go out, and I'm not going to take advantage of anything.
Yeah,
that's just the way I am.
No. You're not zooming me down. We are pals, and like I said, 3 or 4 days after this is all over and it's sunk in what's happened in the end of it, see we're
So
still
what you're
friends.
saying? So what you're saying is you're going to do everything possible to take this belt away from me.
Yeah, and you're going to do everything you know to keep it. Come on, brother. You didn't get it at no Sunday school picnic.
No, I didn't get it at no Sunday school picnic. But the only reason I wear this belt is because these good people out here put their faith and support in me, and I've always been a people's champion. And I'm going to tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm going to tell you something.
Well.
Since you want to come out here and to tell the truth, you want to tell the truth. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe I will do everything in my power to keep this title because this title means a lot to me and it means a lot to these fans. So I'll tell you what, since you want to tell the truth, Bill Dundee, you get on my nerves a little bit. You know why? No, you know why? Because for the past several months, you and me have been traveling up down the highways, and every time we step into a local restaurant, here comes Bill Dundee. Hey, y'all, Bill Dundee's here, Bill Dundee's here. Well, I'm not quite as boisterous as you. I don't like to go into a restaurant and make a butt out of myself. And there's another thing. There is another thing that you do that I don't like. Every time that you step in the ring with any opponent, it doesn't matter if the opponent is experienced. It doesn't matter if you've got a green wrestler up there that you take advantage of. Every time that wrestler trips and falls down, you know what you do? You stand up in the ring and go, woo! Well, to me, that embarrasses me because I am a wrestler. I'm not up there to show my tail.
Well, I'll tell you something, brother. I'll tell you what bothers you when we go to a restaurant. You haven't got that stupid star painted on your face, and everybody says, "Hey, Bill Dundee, who's your buddy?" And I got to tell him it's Danny Davis, and he's another thing.
No, you don't have
to wait till this week, brother. Let's just bring this belt, this thing, and haul it up in here. We wrestle right now.
Hey, you're exactly right. We don't have to wait till this week. We can do it right now.
Hey, come on. You guys are partners here today.
Man, such good stuff. Oh, my gosh. Dundee is perfect at escalating situations like that, but subtly. But, Uncle Danny's saying, we're going to have a nice competition. Nobody's going to cheat. Nobody's going to do anything but just wrestle. And then Dundee comes and gets in his face. I love when he's poking him, and then Danny's like, do you have to do that? And when he gets to the part about, you get on my nerves. You know what gets on my nerves? Every time we go in somewhere, we go, oh, Bill Dundee's here. You feel like that's a shoot. Like, that had probably weighed on him for a long time.
I'm not shitting you. Like that he is like that. He doesn't want to go in and just fucking be noticed and all that shit. And I can imagine Bill Dundee would be a little bit more vocal about his entrance, So like, you wonder if they were like, yeah, just shoot a little bit or something, but that was perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
It wasn't over the top. You weren't, as it starts, you weren't going, oh, they're trying to set up the match, or oh, they're like, it just slowly escalates. And then once it gets there, you're ready to see the match. But I mean, I was like, this is a long clip, but it's well worth it. Like, everybody needs to see this from start to finish. And then they go to the ring, and even then, they're not just hauling off, beating the shit out of each other, punching and eye raking and all that right out of the gate. But the match starts to escalate as well. So, this will spoil the question, but who cares? We're talking about it right now. We're already going and getting a ticket to the Coliseum because we want to potentially see one of them stripped. But this cinches it for me. Like, I got to see how this plays out because I'm a Danny Davis fan. I'm a Dundee fan. They've been partners. And we know in the past, no matter what's gone on in the recent past, Dundee will get down and dirty and do anything to win a title. So, man, just such great stuff here. And I'm so much more invested in the light heavyweight title match than seeing Awesome Kong versus freaking Samson. Or even, I mean, yeah, we know we're going to get to see Leatherface because we know Jerry Lawler's not getting his hair shaved. But then again, we don't know for sure we're going to see Leatherface's face because we might get one of these bullshit non-endings that we've gotten. And even the most dense fan in the world at this point, after getting the shaft on some of these promised finishes, is even thinking, well, it might not either one happen. But we know there's going to be something happen in this match no matter what.
I love this match. I love this whole thing with Danny and Bill, like you said, it seems some shoot stuff there. I love the match. This reminded me when they first got started of was it Tony Charles, Dundee versus Tony Charles. There's some clips out there of that match. I don't think the complete match is out there. But, man, I mean, I'm sitting there. I'm marking out big time thinking to myself, man, I'd like to see these guys go 30 minutes. What can they do in 30 minutes, you know? Love both of these guys. Y'all know I'm a big mark for both of them. So, and I wish we would have like a long feud. I don't know. I don't look at spoilers, so believe it or not. So I'm excited to see what they do with this.
Yeah, and, you know, I was getting kind of, well, I mean, I knew where everything was going just from memory, but here for the last probably month or so, it seemed like, man, they're not doing anything with Uncle Danny or Bill. And they're just kind of, after Jamie left and after El Grande Pistolero was over, it's kind of like, he ain't doing shit. Hell, Bill may not even be there some weeks, and then Uncle Danny's reduced to being a ref to a fucking mud hole match, you know? Yeah. But the way you're absolutely right about the build, they even did it with the match, and by the end of the match, they're throwing punches outside, and they just cut to commercial, big thing, and then they come back and, you know, it's all that. But, yeah, I cannot wait for these next few weeks. This is absolutely one of my favorite whatever you want to call it, short feuds or whatever. Like, I've revisited this I don't know how many times throughout since it's happened because it's just such good shit. And I'm a little partial to one of them in the feud.
To Dundee anyway, but
yeah, he gave me Papa John's one time, dude. First fucking time I ever met him. You know, I'm at Uncle Danny's house for one of the summers or whatever, and he told me Bill's coming over after Louisville and blah blah blah. So he comes up. He's driving a fucking Mercedes. You know that was so cool at 12, and then he's got a pizza. And
so you fed Dundee pizza, and I fed the Undertaker pizza.
No. Dundee just was trying to be cordial. He was like, "Yo, what's some Papa John's, Josh?" And I was like, "Yeah." But fucking 12-year-old was going to turn down pizza, and I went and got a few slices. But that was my introduction to Bill. Yeah,
I would have got over with me too.
Hell yeah!
I mean, I got a sandwich with Tommy Rich. I don't know if that puts me in the club. I mean, I didn't. I guess I should have bought a pizza. You know, I'll always do that next time. Next time I'm around the USWA Tommy, wrestler, I gotta get him a pizza. But, but you know, I kind of felt like as I was watching this, everything that y'all were just saying, that like Dundee spent weeks wrestling Hagar, Lord of the Volcano. He's wrestled Leatherface. Uncle Danny's just wrestling whoever meets the weight limit that week, you know, just throw them in there. And I feel like maybe those two are in the car together and bitching about that. And Dundee's like, well, wait a minute, brother. What if we'd wrestled each other? What if we wrestled for that belt? And somebody went and pitched to Embry like, hey, you care if we wrestle each other? And Embry's like, man, I don't care, man. You ain't in an angle. Hell yeah, go out there and do it, man. And that's maybe how we got here. And like I said, this has the potential to be the best thing on the card Monday night. And speaking of that, we're going to hear about Monday night's card right after this quick podcast commercial break.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here. Lots of new stuff happening here at WrestleCopia. If you haven't checked out our website at WrestleCopia.com, it's a great way to keep up with the latest episodes of all of your favorite Copia programming, from the Wrestling Memory Grenade to Regional Wrestling with the Territory Talk, the Wrestling Stoop with the legendary Bob Roop, and of course all of those programs also available at your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the Copia world, all the latest news, random thoughts, fun videos, pictures, and more, make sure to join the more than 33,000 followers over at Facebook.com/Wrestling Grenade. Don't be left out. And last but definitely not least, it's what keeps the entire machine going. I'm talking about Patreon.com/WrestleCopia. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia Podcast Network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all the quality programming that we offer.
The Retro Wrestling Review. WCW Podcast is a bi-weekly podcast where Gene Jackson and Bob Anderson go back and watch all the WCW pay-per-views and Clash of the Champions events starting in 1989. Listen in on your favorite podcast platform or watch along with the guys over at patreon.com/Retro Wrestling Archive. New episodes drop every 2 weeks, but you can catch them a week early on Patreon.
Tired of the same boring wrestling podcast? Need something with attitude, chaos, and maybe just a little cussing? That's STSpod.club, and we got it all covered. We've got wrestling weirdness with WTF News Desk, 5-minute time limit, and the Southern fried brain of me, BT, stirring the whole ship. We also have rolling into Memphis every week about the current Memphis wrestling. Interviews, hot takes, and wrestling outrageousness so wild it might get you banned in 12 states. That's right, it's SDSpod.club or search all podcast catchers for Shooting the Shiznit, where wrestling podcasts grow chest hair. Not sure what that meant. Love my mama.
All right, and I know I didn't say it, but I think Josh mentioned it there. The match didn't have an ending. You know, it started to escalate. They had to go to commercial, and we come back from commercial. Perfect, too, because right as it's about to get ugly, that's when they cut it off, and then, Dave, we're out of time. You got to come to the Coliseum and see it, because that's right. I didn't make a mistake. It is back to the Mid-South Coliseum, and this is going to be the card for Homecoming 91, the return to the Mid-South Coliseum on August 5th, 1991.
At 10 o'clock, so you can pick up your tickets in advance for the action, which begins at 8 o'clock Monday night. And again, we are back at the Mid-South Coliseum. Opening match of the night, Brian Christopher will be going against Heartbreaker Randy Harris. Should be a good opening match. A couple of fine young wrestlers going here. Then, World Light Heavyweight title match, the Superstar Bill Dundee against Nightmare Danny Davis. Now, these two are going to be here in a tag team a little bit later on today, but when there's a world title at stake, well, it can result in some strange pairing sometime. And that's going to be the case when the Superstar will be going against Nightmare Danny Davis, the World Light Heavyweight title on the line. Following that, with the heavyweight title will be on the line. Oh, well, maybe not. I see there's a substitution here, and that maybe Kong will not be putting that belt up, but Kong will be going against Samson. You will meet Samson a little bit later on today. We'll talk about this one more later. Loser leave town match coming up. No time limit, no disqualification. The team of the Brawlers split up after last week, and Robert Fuller this week will be going against Brawler number 2 in a single match. Loser leaves town. You see it, no time limit, no disqualification. And then in the next match, Jarrett will be going against Brawler number 1. Same stipulations. Loser leaves town, no time limit, no disqualification. Following that, it's a Back Alley Street Brawl. It continues until one team loses their clothes. Dirty white boy, dirty white girl on one side of the ring, on the other, Dr. Tom Pritchard and Miss Texas. Look out for this one. The Back Alley Street Brawl rules. Then the main event of the night. Actually, it's the first of 2 big main events. Hair versus the Mask. Must be a winner, no time limit, no disqualification. You heard the King talking about it. He had to put his hair on the line against Leatherface's mask. The King promises to unmask Leatherface Monday night at the Coliseum. Tojo will be in Leatherface's corner, is going to be looking to cut the hair of Jerry Lawler. As I said, it's never been done. The King has never lost his hair in a match, and really does not like to put the hair up in a match like this, but we'll do it Monday night at the Coliseum. Then, following that, the second main event of the night, and in this one, hair versus hair, too. Must be a winner in the match. Cousin Harold will be going against Eric Embry, the flamboyant one, who also will have Tojo Yamamoto in his corner. Some kind of card coming up Monday night. Homecoming 91, back to the Mid-South Coliseum.
So Tom Pritchard and Dirty White Boy got that over. If you noticed, as soon as Dave Brown goes, Eric Embry's going to take it on Cousin Harold, from the audience, you hear, Cousin Harold, real loud. That popped me when I was watching the show the other day. So there you go. returning, that's the big card that was going to be the return to the Mid-South Coliseum. Let's talk about the show so we can hear how that turned out. I'm curious about a couple of those matches of who won. So, and if everybody showed up that was supposed to be there. So, let's hear it. What was your least favorite part of today's show?
Mine's got to be the whole Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller walking in Memphis replay again, come out with school in session again, history lesson and all that. We already know these motherfuckers' career from the promo 5 weeks ago. Like, why do we have to keep reiterating all this shit? And, you know, like you said, couldn't we pick a better song? I get walking in Memphis, the whole Memphis thing. That's probably what got Jerry Jarrett to, you know, be like, yeah, pick that one. But, God, who was that relating to besides 40 years old? 40-year-old.
Oh, man, come on.
Grown folk ass music. Some bullshit.
I love that song, but I got a tag team here with Josh, that whole stuff. Mainly just the whole, you know, I'm a huge Fuller and Jarrett fan. I like them as a tag team. I like them separately. I'm tired of hearing this, you know, history lesson. And Josh said, we know you. We've been watching the show. We know who y'all are. Please stop. Please stop. That's my least favorite of the show.
We know
also.
Y'all had a feud.
We know everything.
Y'all became a tag team. Yeah, like I said, I'm a fan of Fuller and Jarrett, and I was annoyed by the rehash of the Walking in Memphis and rehash of their promo. But I have to say, since they've gotten here, the least favorite part of every show they've been involved in to me is the Barroom Brawlers. And I know Vines and Sword, like, they're, you know, they've been around, they're veterans, and they've done some good stuff, but, like, this whole gimmick, and the fact that they're known wrestlers who they're not identifying, they're just the generic Barroom Brawlers, just everything about that annoys me, and every time I see them on the screen, I just roll my eyes and go, oh, shit. All right, we got to get through this. And that's why I can't clip any of it, because I don't want to have to watch it again, because I didn't want to watch it the first time. So so I'm going to make mine. I'm going to agree with y'all, but I'm going to make mine specific to the Barroom Brawlers. What was your most favorite part of this week's show?
Got to be a two-parter on this one. We got the mini movie, the Leatherface one, and then, you know, the whole Leatherface match and them really putting the chainsaw over at the end. Like, he's trying to get to, he's trying to, and, you know, that may be the remedy for not being able to crank it up in the studio, is the illusion of him trying. And Embry and Pritchard both had to come pull him back because he knocked Tojo down. He's getting wilder. I love the whole thing. And I'm just going to leave a little teaser on this part one. This whole Lawler and Leatherface thing directly led to my first wrestling dream that I had as a kid. First wrestling dream ever. I was super psyched about mask versus hair. I don't know why, but I got super pointed at who is Leatherface. I've got to know. Is he a real killer or whatever? I was really into that. And also Uncle Danny and Bill Dundee, the whole thing, it was perfect. And two favorites.
Dirty White Girl was part of my first ever wrestling dream, ironically.
Good God. I'll go with Danny and Bill as my favorite part. I love the whole segment. I love the match. I'm more excited about seeing that match Monday night than anything on the card. And even with Lawler's hair on the line, I'm just fired up to go down. Well, I'll take all that back. I do want to see Dirty White Girl naked. So if she gets naked, then it'll top Dundee and Danny Davis. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Now, that same part of you that doesn't like Reggie B. Fine promos, are you going to be pissed if Miss Texas ends up naked?
Oh, no, not at all, no.
Okay.
So I'm going to co-sign the Bill Dundee and Danny Davis segment. For me, was my absolute favorite part of the show. And if you're a person that runs a school or trains wrestlers, or if you're a wrestler, looking to see how it's done, it works in the past, it works in the present, it will work in the future. study stuff like this whole segment match, that just the entirety of everything that happened with Dundee and Danny Davis today, because that is stuff that will always be relevant. It'll always work. I don't care how much things change and styles in the ring or all that, but that kind of thing. And I'm not a fan of babyface matches at all, but the way they did that developed an issue between them that now they can have a series of matches, but in the end, no matter how heated it gets, unless, like they said, and I love the fact they drew the line in the sand and they kind of established the ground rules. As long as nobody throws fire, as long as nobody does this, we're going to compete for the title. So as none of that crazy shit happens, at the end of this, even if it's, 3 months from now, they can shake hands and move on. And, we can get right back to where we were and nobody's damaged or has to be a heel full time. Just great stuff. So
I thought the Jarrett Sabu match was something also people could watch. It was totally different than anything because they really didn't do psychology. They just did move for move kind of thing, and Jarrett was really good in that match. But those two guys, the way they work hold for hold, honestly, there's not a lot of guys on the indies that can do that kind of stuff now. And if they could, though, they could get the crowds into it, especially when somebody punches the other guy. When he finally does it, that crowd pops like crazy. I mean, you hope for hold, bam, and the crowd will go for it. So they'll start booing that guy just for, punching the guy in the face. Danny did a forearm, and Dave called it a punch, but then Danny did punch him a couple of times also. But good stuff.
I'm glad you brought up the Jarrett and Sabu match, because then I realized, oh shit, we got so sidetracked on that promo that we didn't even mention that we had a singles match between Jeff Jarrett and Sabu. And I know they had the series of tag matches with Sabu and Judge Dredd wrestling Jarrett and Fuller, but I didn't realize that ever a single match ever took place between Jeff Jarrett and Sabu. So I don't know. It was like you said, it was a good match. It was interesting, and it kind of shows for people who think Sabu's just a guy that turned flips through tables and moonsaults, and he could wrestle when he wanted to. He didn't have to most of the time. Just like you can watch matches from Japan and find out, hey, Hogan could actually wrestle if he wanted to at times, but it didn't suit his calling in the WWF, and it didn't suit Sabu to go out there. If Sabu went out there and had a wrestling match in ECW, they'd have booed him out of the building. But he did have the fundamentals, and it was a really good TV match. And I apologize for not.
I didn't remember whether you mentioned it or not. I just wanted to throw that in there. I
we got on such a tangent about the promo.
I wished one of the things I've talked about, if I worked for Memphis Wrestling, I'd look at everybody's, what they were wearing and everything, but I would love to do a psychology class, and it would be matches like this where you see things that you would, it's kind of like, you're not going to see this on TV now. Let's do this instead. Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff I really like.
Absolutely. I'm going to skip the next question because we're just going to talk 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we're going. Yeah.
Everybody knows we're going, so let's get right to it. Tell us what all went on.
All right. We was at the Mid-South Coliseum, and I cannot find a attendance, which I hate because I would like to know what it was coming back. Did you find any attendance?
No. I looked through all the newsletters and Googled and all kinds of things, and no, I couldn't find it anywhere.
All right. So the return to the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis on 8/5 saw Brian Christopher beat Sabu. Bill Dundee beat Danny Davis to win the title. Oh, love it. Awesome Kong beat Samson, and Dolores was at ringside.
Denise.
Denise. Robert Fuller beat Brawler number 2 in a loser league town. And Fuller came back and beat Brawler number 1 as well, because Jeff Jarrett missed a show because of an injury. Don't know. We put that in the parentheses. Jerry Lawler beat Leatherface in a hair versus mask match by throwing fire and pinning him, but nobody recognized Leatherface when his mask came off. It was, he says, Larry Basil, who works as Johnny Rotten. So I don't even know if it was Johnny Grunge now. I don't know. Larry Basil does not sound like Johnny.
That's not Johnny Grunge's name. I'm trying to think of what it is, but it's definitely not Larry Basil.
Lawler subbed For no
Mike,
show.
Mike Durham, that's his name.
Mike Durham, yeah, you're right. Lawler subbed for no-show Cousin Harold and beat Eric Embry by DQ when Tom Pritchard interfered in the finale. So does that mean Embry got? I don't know. Embry's supposed to get his hair shaved, right?
He was, but I don't know since it's a
yeah,
DQ.
he didn't since it's Lawler. Yeah, it wasn't Cousin Harold. That's
Contract null and void, man.
Pritchard and Miss Texas beat Tony Anthony, Dirty White Girl, in a street fight, yes, which goes until one person is left in their underwear due to outside interference from Embry. No idea who was left.
If we don't get footage from this match, we may just shut this whole damn show down next week. I don't know.
Yeah, if we don't see Dirty White Boy and Tidy Whities, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed.
Well, I believe that, but I don't know that we'll shut the show down, but and I you know what's going to make me madder than that if they don't show it?
They won't show it.
If they show footage and it's blurred out, and then you know that it would have been good if he was there. But anyway, well that there you go. That's the big return to the Mid-South Coliseum. We got no shows all over the place. Fucking Cousin Harold, the biggest match of your career, and you don't show up.
He was in the main event, y'all. The main event.
Come on, Cousin Harold, get it together. All right, well, we will follow up next week and see what footage exists. I'm sure Eric Embry will have a lot to say about, like you said, contracts and all this nonsense about why he didn't get his hair cut. Right now, let's talk about what's going on this week at sts.club, BT?
Oh, Saturday we had Rolling Into Memphis 261. We have a new episode of Cassette Wrestling News going out. It went on the Retro already. It'll go on this week on my feed. Rob is also going to be here Monday. This comes out Wednesday, so he's already been here and he's gone. But we'll be recording. Actually, he's not going to be the first episode, but he's going to be the first person to sit down. And he'll be featured in the second. We're going to talk about him being, man, he has a really unique story of how he kind of got involved in wrestling. And he told it on a Patreon episode with us, 5-minute time limit. And he showed me some clips and stuff. So it's going to be really fun. I'm excited about meeting him. This past Saturday, I just want to put over, we did episode 9 of the CWA. We're right smack in the middle of Rich and Idol against Jerry Lawler. And just exciting time. Jerry Lawler's still gone, but he'll return soon, and we should see some stuff. And me and Gene noticed something. And if y'all watch old Memphis, we're noticing a whole different format in 87 than we are in 91. Ever who's booking in 87 gives it's almost like they're booking in thirds, don't you? I think that's like the first third of the show is all about, say, Downtown Bruno, which it has been. The next third, the next 30 minutes, it just feels like it's a different booker in the way they're doing things.
Yeah, they're definitely grouping things together in blocks, and depending on who's in that angle or that block, it can be rough at times. It's a lot of Soul Train Jones, a lot of Bruno. Me and you are both huge Bruno fans, but when you have 3 segments in a row where he's out there and all we're talking about is, Bruno and Goliath against Jarrett and Travis, it's spread it out. Why are we doing this all back to back to back? And then we get a 7-minute promo from Kenny D, the Snowman, and Soul Train Jones. Good grief. But anyway, check that out on Patreon, folks. Proceed.
Soul Train, I think, had some extra baby oil he put on during a video. So
there's enough of him. He needs extra.
And Lance, these specimens out here talking about him and the masks. I'm sorry, he started out as the masked killer, and by the end of the promo, he's the unmasked snowman.
He kept saying specimen. He said that during the Mid-South Coliseum thing. That's it for stspod.club. Smokey's I'm fixing to throw that up, but I'm not going to throw that up. I know I'm not going to do it, guys. Patreon, puking on Patreon. We're going to talk about P3 Radio. It is Also, one of the shows that talk about videos but never gives you links, including What the Fuck. I noticed that last time. All right, let's get started. Go ahead, Smokey. It's the Shiznit Minute on P3 Radio, episode 446. We should have edited it. For some reason, I love that. Josh would not admit to spray painting stuff when he was a kid. There's some vandalism going on, and they broke into a house, and Richard would not admit he did anything wrong. He was not part of that, no matter what Josh said to him. He even would not even admit going into the house after the fact. So there is a Raising Cane story where Jackson PETA protest, and then Richard told us some PETA rumors. Woo, that was good. Josh popped the boss. I always like popping the boss, dude. I had a boss that I popped. No, wait. Richard's a driving expert. He's a highway law expert. His wife went crazy in the car. She goes crazy in the car. Richard's going to trade. All right. That was the minute. Check him out this week. Fun stuff.
I feel like we're going to have to set aside a segment one week for Richard to come defend himself against all these Shiznit minutes about P3 Radio.
I'm not saying anything bad. It's exactly what he says.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm just saying. I know he said
I won't
all
be
of
here.
it,
Fuck that.
but just when you say it all in a row, you realize there's a lot to defend with each and every episode of P3 Radio. I just received it. Speaking of Rob,
he didn't play an AI song, so you'll be flagged this week.
well, wonderful. Yeah, I just got a text. We speaking of Rob. Rob sent me a text that said, "Tell Josh Briley he is my hero." So there you go, Josh.
He's a huge Josh Briley
big fan of Josh. Big fan of Jamie Ward. So there you go. And yeah, he's wanting y'all to sit in on one of our Continental shows one of these days. I said that might not take much arm twisting because right now, we're in '85, so the Nightmares are feuding with Tommy Rich and Steve Armstrong at the moment because Johnny's out injured. But anyway, that's a whole other show. Check that out, if you will, our Continental podcast. It comes out every other week, but we may be switching to weekly because we realize we're recording every week, so these things are kind of piling up on us. So more on that later, and more on another podcast that we may be taking on very soon. But right now, we want you to go to retrowrestlingarchive.club. All these things that I talk about, all the different podcasts that I'm involved with, a link to the YouTube page, a link to the store where you can get the T-shirts, the hats, the mouse pads, whatever you want with any of these logos on them, you can get them there, as well as a link to patreon.com/retrowrestlingarchive where you can find all the shows that I do sometimes up to a week early. Plus, you can find the video versions of things like our WCW podcast, our Continental podcast, where they're just audio on the mainstream. You can actually see the video and watch along with us right there on Patreon. Plus, tons of other exclusive content and other content that we share alongside patreon.com/shootingtheshiznit. Of course, that is BT's Patreon. You can catch a lot of his shows there early, and you can catch a lot of his post-show things. He always leaves the recorder on a little bit after the show. You always get a little something extra there. And as you know, with BT and most of the people who are involved in his shows, such as myself, there's a lot of things said on there that you can't say on the main feed. And if you don't believe me, join us for Hot Mics after this show.
Right on.
So there you go. And I also want to make a mention real quick. EPWWrestlingMS.com. If you haven't watched any EPW Wrestling yet, go check it out. Your buddy Gene is on the play-by-play commentary, and they put on a great show. I think you might like it. Guys, anything else before we go? I know Producer Smokey want to remind everybody again, make sure you check out his T-shirt designs over at the store.
That son of a bitch.
And
censors me.
Yeah, he's, I don't know, he's getting a little calculated. Check him out. I mean, he's got this, I think he had some money coming. All this time that I wasn't working, I think he was doing something on the side.
Looks like it with that chain on.
Yeah,
you got to watch him.
Chain? He looks like he's been hanging out. Has everybody seen that rap video with Doug and Tommy? I think he may be secretly hanging out with them. He may be producing them. I may get pushed out of that show before long, so keep an eye out for that. But anyway, guys, before we get out of here, is there anything else we'd like to add before we go?
Love my mama.
I love your mama too, BT.
There it is. See you next week for another episode of the Retro Wrestling Review USWA Podcast.